All right, guys, this is Dark Side from Vital MX. Today, I have a very special guest. He was the 2020 Pro Motocross Champion in the 450 class, and he is a current Husqvarna Brand Ambassador. On the phone with me, Mr. Zach Osborne. What's up, dude?
Not much, man. Just actually kind of moving some stuff around to storage and whatnot, and getting ready to go on a trip to England tomorrow.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. You mentioned that in text. I was going to ask about it in a little bit, but let's get right into that. What are we going to England for?
Yeah, I'm going over there just mainly to visit some friends and then also to race the VMX DN at Fox Hills. I'm going to ride a 2002 Husqvarna CR250, so it's going to be a good trip.
You've been just really busy lately with a lot of different events. How excited are you to get back over there and then go ride on a 250? That's cool, man.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I think it's going to be really cool. A really cool trip. Looks like the weather's going to be good, which is pretty typical of England in August and September. But, you know, obviously British weather can be crap at some parts of the year. So it's nice to have what looks like some good weather and hopefully some fun times.
The family going to get to go with you?
Yep. Everybody's going.
Good. Well, as I said, you've been really busy lately, and I want to talk about a few of the different things you've been doing lately. Let's start with Walton. You qualified P1. Obviously the race didn't go exactly how you had planned, but 4:35 for 12th. Just talk about racing Walton and, actually just being able to enjoy racing a little bit.
Yeah, dude. Actually, Walton was a super sick track. I've never been there before, but it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. Obviously not the result that I was looking for. I was really hoping to be on the podium. Which seemed pretty possible before I fell in the first moto and jacked my thumb up. But overall it was a fun trip. Like, the fans responded really well, and that's the biggest part of my job now is just kind of being part of the community and meeting people and getting to see people who didn't get to see me when I was racing full time in the US. So overall just a pretty successful trip, other than the little tip over that I had in the first moto, but still had a really, really good time.
How has that been, interacting with the fans more? Obviously at the professional level and American motocross, very difficult to find time with as busy as the days are. Now you get that time to interact with all these people that are fans and really genuinely care to get to meet you.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's kind of like a more, let's say, intimate experience, like that you don't get as a racer. Normally the only time that you see people, you're running them through an autograph line at a dealership on a Friday night, or they don't even do that anymore now. But it's definitely cool to get to have some time to interact with people and have that, those moments where you can really, really talk to people and kind of appreciate what's going on.
Now, you recently went down to Puerto Rico. What was that for?
I didn't go to Puerto Rico, actually, in the end. I was going there for a grand opening of a track, but owned by a Husky dealer there on the island. But there was a huge rainstorm forecast for that weekend, and I think it ended up raining like 7 inches or something crazy. So they canceled it before I actually went, so I didn't get to go, and they haven't really rescheduled it yet, so I didn't get to go.
Gotcha. I was going to ask if while you're there, you made any deals, signed any contracts for MXDN, maybe Team Puerto Rico.
No, I did speak to Gabby, who's the manager of the team.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago, something like that. And we kicked their idea around, but man, I'm at a place where I'm not really at that level of fitness, and I don't really want to put myself in those situations. It just gets more dangerous, in my opinion, when you're not in good shape and you're trying to do, the things that your brain knows you can do, but your body's just not there. Just same sort of situation as what happened to me this weekend. I just was not quite prepared. I only had 2 weeks notice before going to the race to kind of get ready. So I went and did a couple of motos, but yeah, it's you can't replace those days on the bike and the need for hours and hours and hours of riding.
Where do you place where you're at right now in your professional career as Husqvarna Brand Ambassador and getting to do these fun events and not have to maybe be in the best shape? Where do you place this time in your life compared to when you're racing? Like, are you having more fun right now?
I wouldn't say. I would say no. Yeah, I definitely not. I enjoy the grind. I enjoy going every day and sweating it out and being in shape and being the guy who could do the motos, and that's what I really enjoyed. I enjoy riding off road more now, mainly because I feel like I'm learning when I'm riding, and I feel like I can just kind of relax. Whereas when I'm riding motocross, I'm like, well, that sucked. That corner was terrible. I just know what it should feel like too much. And it gets frustrating for me. So I am enjoying riding, but just in a much, much different way.
So one of the events I wanted to ask you about was the recent one, the Moto Vroom Vroom with Chad Reed. That thing looked like a blast because you went out and got to battle with one of your peers, but you didn't have to worry about championships or bonuses or OEM manufacturers, whatever. You just got to go have fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. Chad smoked me the first moto. Well, not smoked me. He beat me. And we had a good battle, and I could tell that it kind of like, it meant something to him to beat me or whatever, because like when we crossed the finish line, he was super stoked, like gave it the double fist pump, which was cool. Like we had a really good time. JG was there. He was ripping, and we just had a blast. It was like kind of three old guys that knew what they were doing at one point that were just like still trying to have some fun. It was such a cool event, and something that I'll remember for a long time.
I like that. I like that, seeing you having so much fun. And you've always been a guy that, at least from the outward, it looked like you were having fun, at the races. But you can, from the social media side, the fan side, you can see the difference in you right now.
Yeah, I'm not a big social media guy. Like, I don't know. It doesn't do it for me. It doesn't come natural to me. It just, I don't know. So I feel like judging it from that is tough, but
sure.
I'm definitely enjoying what I'm doing, and in a good spot with it all.
And you went back to Loretta's this year with Husky, right?
Yeah, I went back to Loretta's for 2 days. We did a s'mores event there, and like a cornhole thing, and just kind of hung out for a little while. I got to ride the track a little bit because there was a Husky road to recovery bike for racers for Waverly, so I got to do that. That was really cool, and just to kind of be back there. Before we went back there in 2020, I hadn't been in a long time, so it was cool to go back to the amateur race. I hadn't been to the amateur race in probably 7 or 8 years, or maybe more than that. So it was really neat.
Did those memories come back of playing in the river and just hanging with your buddies, and also the pressures of being a kid and trying to do the best to get seen?
Yeah. So no, for me, I wasn't allowed to go in the creek. I was pretty much just hung out in my trailer the whole week. But
okay.
So I was there with Jack Chambers, and he was like, "Hey, let's go do this." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay. Like, this will be my first time." And he's like, "What do you mean? Like, you've never jumped off such and such or done this or that?" And I'm like, "No, I've never done any of that." But yeah, crazy.
Why was that? Your parents just kept you on lock?
We were there to race, we were there to win races. So it was just dangerous. The first year we were there, I got hit. I was riding my bicycle. I was 8 years old, and I was riding my bicycle, got hit by a golf cart, and a rock went in my head. It was a pretty bad deal. So after that, it was just like kind of hang out in the trailer, stay cool, race, go back to the trailer.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You kind of missed out on some of those stories, but I think in the end, it worked out okay for you.
Yeah, it did.
You mentioned Jack Chambers. You still enjoying working with him and coaching? And is that still something that really seems very fulfilling to you?
Yeah. So, I mean, I never had any intent of being a trainer or a coach. But with the opportunity that came about with Jack, it just kind of fit perfectly where I was at. And he's just a really good kid from a really good family, and it all just kind of fell into place. And I've been enjoying it. Obviously, he had a pretty bad injury at the third round of outdoors at Colorado. He tore his ACL in the first corner of the second moto. So it's been a rehab summer, if you will. But we're getting there with that, and just it's improving daily. And we're on track for where we need to be. And we had already kind of set a goal or not set a goal, but we were all, me, him, his dad, and two of their buddies, Colton and Conrad, are going out to this ride, the Colorado 600, in the middle of September. And whenever he hurt his knee, he was like, man, now I'm going to miss that. So we kind of set a rough goal for him to be back for that. So he's on track for that, and that looks good. So he's not as depressed now about hurting his knee. And we're looking forward to our trip to Colorado.
Good times. Okay, I want to look back on your career just briefly. Some highlights: 2-time 250 Supercross champion, 1-time 250 outdoor champion, 1-time 450 MX champion, 1 Supercross 450 won at Salt Lake City, and 1 GP win. Those are some very significant highlights. Obviously, those are things that a lot of racers would love to have, any one of those accomplishments. When you look back on your career, do you have a highlight like one of those events, or is it as a whole what you accomplished with your family? Like, what is the highlight for you when you look back on your professional racing career?
I mean, definitely as a whole with my family is probably the key thing. But I mean, for me, like from a racing standpoint, the night in Vegas in 2017 was just peak all time. You know, it was the emotions that I felt that night, and it was just a crazy way to win. And I mean, I've said it a million times, but like I didn't sleep for a couple of days after that. I was just in shock of what had taken place, you know. And honestly, that one kind of broke me in a little bit too heavy. You know, the other ones, especially the 2018 Supercross Championship, kind of paled in comparison. You know, that the night in 2017, I made a pass in the last corner for the championship and got 7th, and it was like the greatest accomplishment of my life. And then in 2007 or 18, I got 7th again, and it was like an anticlimactic. You won a championship, you know, like, not to sound ungrateful, but man, it was such a big contrast between those two races or two scenarios. It's crazy. I'll never ever forget, or I don't know, like definitely from a racing standpoint, I'll likely never top that, you know, that moment. Very,
very intense.
Oh, I mean, yeah, the all-time intensity. Like, yeah, nothing that I've ever felt before or after will be close, you know?
Right. Have you gotten to a point where you're kind of okay with the fact that you're not racing at that level anymore, or does it still eat at you every once in a while?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have the opportunity to, like, have some closure on my career, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to continue racing, but it just wasn't possible. So for me, like, I definitely still feel like I have unfinished business, but it gets easier, maybe not day by day, but like month by month, to realize that, you know, that chapter is kind of closed.
The new position, as we talked about with the brand ambassador, is that something that you feel like you'd like to continue for years, or have you thought about moving into a management role, a team manager role, anything else, or maybe someday just being, actually, I am retired, I'm done? Yeah,
I mean, I am retired, I'm done is probably a long ways away. Like, I'm 32 years old, and I still, you know, I don't think that I could just, it's hard even now. Like, I don't really have that much obligation each day, let's say. Mm-hmm. And that's hard for me. So to have even less would be tough, you know, but
yeah,
I think, I mean, I would be open to entertaining whatever. I think that, you know, as long as I'm relevant or, you know, making an impact doing what I'm doing, I'm enjoying it. So we'll just have to kind of see where it all goes and what comes about.
Yeah, I feel like you'd be a good, like a Nathan Ramsey, you know, like a really good team manager. I just think that, especially with the younger guys, I think it seems like that'd be a really good fit for you.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that was kind of where I headed before.
Yep.
Where I was headed before things changed.
Right.
So, I mean, maybe eventually it comes back around. I'm not sure, or something else comes up.
Pretty cool. So anyway, Zach, I'm going to let you get back to your day. I always appreciate checking in with you and you having a little bit of time for us, and have fun in England, be safe, and enjoy the family.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. I would say thanks, Dark Side, but you're Vital Jamie now, right? Has that changed?
Man, it's whatever. I don't know.
I'm only joking. I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm sure we'll speak soon.
Absolutely, man. See ya. Thanks.